Welcome back. One of the pieces of advice that we improving chess players often receive is to play longer games. And I mean longer than Bullet and Blitz, and even longer than the 10+0 rapid games that I usually play. I'll admit that I'm more comfortable playing the 10-minute rapid games than the longer games. Sometimes I don't know what to do with that extra time. But I'm going to try. What I'm going to do today is on Lichess, I'm going to play a 30-minute classical game. With no increment, 30 minutes should be plenty. This isn't cropped well, but hopefully when I click the button to play the game, it will be cropped correctly. If you've watched these before, you know that I don't know what kind of opponent I'm going to get. I don't know what opening they're going to play, but I'm going to do my best. And if you're new to my channel, I'm not a titled player or a chess coach. I'm just trying to get better at chess. I'm just a random person. But hopefully you'll get something out of this as I learn from my mistakes in the post-game analysis or as I talk through my thought processes during the game. I'm just going to click the quick pairing 30+0 button and see what we get. Hopefully it will show up here in a second. I assume I'll get paired. That looks funny. Something is off with the site today. Oh, it dinged. Okay, I did get paired and it's not cropped perfectly correctly. Okay, I'm going to play e4 and I'm going to correct the cropping really quick. My opponent has responded with e5, so let's play knight to c3. And I will continue fixing the... What happened? Okay, they've played this knight here. This is... Yeah, I'm trying to correct the cropping while also playing the game of chess. I think that looks pretty good, doesn't it? All right. Usually when they play that, I push this pawn forward, which is supposed to force that knight backward. Not everybody plays it, but I think that's white's best move. I mean, black's best move here. The knight has to go back to g8, and then I'll get my knight out. If I don't get my knight out to guard h4, their queen can come out here and check me. Okay, yeah, so I will get this out. What I used to play was an immediate d4, but a few of my opponents saw this check, and it never worked out well for me. Okay, now I can defend that pawn this way with d4. Now I'm attacking this pawn and defending that one. I'm going to go ahead and take it with... Should I take it with the knight? No, I'm going to take it with the pawn. If they want to do a queen trade, we can. But you know what? There's no rush. I'm not going to pre-move. If they don't take my queen, I'm probably going to take theirs. But my opponent is already a pawn ahead because I haven't yet had a chance to retake this one. And they have lost both their center pawns. I've lost one of my center pawn. Okay, they did take. I'm going to take back with my knight. And I can still take this pawn, but they might defend it with g5. They didn't defend that pawn. Okay, well, this knight is defended right now, so I'm not too worried about that. I'm going to go ahead and take this pawn to even up our material count. If they take here, obviously, I'll take back with this pawn. Oh, they did? Okay. And I'm prepared to castle queenside since I haven't moved my king yet. It looks like my opponent is also prepared to castle queenside. Can I stop that in any way? Oh, I can. Should I do that? But can they block that in any way? Yeah, see, now they can't castle queenside, I think. But I still can. But they might be able to block me too. For example, they could check me right now. But if they did that, I would block with the pawn, right? And they can still castle kingside if they want to. They've made no effort to develop those pieces. Oh, they're coming after me immediately. Okay, this pawn is vulnerable. Is there a way I can protect it? Besides just moving it forward? If I just move it forward, the square is still unprotected. They can still go there. All right, I can protect the square by putting my knight out here. Is that okay? And then I can still castle queenside. But I'm blocking my own bishop in. Wait. They're also attacking this pawn, which I can't defend both of those squares. But I can castle this way. I can castle kingside. I don't know if that's good, but I can castle kingside, which will put my rook here defending that pawn. Let's see, if I do that, my king's over here, then they can check me here and win that bishop. Okay, maybe this opponent has faced what they just faced, or maybe I played it incorrectly because I've never gotten quite this far. I mean, I can also protect that pawn this way, but then they can still get this one and check me. Well, I don't know. You know what? Let's just go here and let them have that pawn. I don't know if that was the best move or not, but I saved this pawn. If they take that one, I think I'll be okay, but I'm not sure. I know there'll be a pawn up at that point, and I'll have to figure something out. And that might not have been what they were intending at all. For all I know, they were thinking about going back here to attack this bishop, or thinking about protecting that square in case I moved the pawn forward, because I was thinking about moving that pawn forward. I was also thinking about dropping this bishop back and moving this pawn forward, but then that bishop, dark-squared bishop, isn't pointed at anything. Well, according to this person's profile, they haven't played a lot of games here on Lichess. Okay. Yeah, see, okay. They want me to take because that helps them develop a piece, right? I was thinking of pushing forward, but I couldn't because they had two defenders on that square, but they've just removed a defender from that square. So I'm going to push forward. My bishop is now protecting that. Now they can throw this pawn forward, but that's okay because as already mentioned, I can move this bishop. Maybe there? I can also move this pawn, but that pawn is going to need to be protected here in just a second, depending on what my opponent does. They could have taken it on the previous turn, but they decided not to. They decided to open this up, hoping that I would take so they could get their knight out that way. I think that was their plan. Oh, they've pushed it forward again. Maybe that was a good move. It keeps my bishop from defending that pawn. I can take their pawn, but then they can take mine. And now I can't stop them from taking that one, can I? And if I move my rook over to protect it, then they can fork my rooks. Okay, well, I'm going to let them have that pawn then. Once they take it with their knight, I can take this pawn. I'm going to protect this one and can move it forward and go this way and take... Oh, they're coming after this bishop. I almost didn't see it. And they're protecting that pawn. This player's pretty sharp. I'm going to drop it back this way. Oh, no, they're going to push that pawn forward. Very nice. That's okay, I guess. Yep, they're going to push that pawn forward. Oh, they didn't. They didn't push the pawn forward. Wait, why didn't I take that on the last turn? Oh, because they were aiming at my bishop. Okay, now I think I can take this. Now they can't push it forward. I think a couple of these plays, they had something that they could have done, but they didn't for some reason. They thought of a reason not to, and that's okay. But now they can't move that knight. They're going to have to defend it. Maybe with the rook. That's the only way they can defend it, I think, is with the rook. Nope. Oh, they can defend it by checking me, can't they? Can't I just get out of check? Wait, and they can check me here. Okay, can I block? And that connects to my rooks? I think I'm going to block. They can still check me with the rook here, but oh, they didn't. Okay, that was... I'm going to take it. All right, you can't move the knight, so I'm not too worried about that. But I also can't bring my king forward, and I don't want to leave my king here. What do I want to do? I assume they're going to push this pawn in just a second, so I'm leaving, this open for my bishop to come back to. I'm just going to put my king back where it was and see if they push this pawn, or I guess they could possibly throw this knight out there. They got the king out of the pin. Okay, that means that they're thinking about moving the knight instead of attacking with the pawn. Then I should just take it, I think, because it's going to get away now and my pin does nothing. Or should I just bring my bishop back where they can throw pawns at it? I don't know. Or I can put my bishop here, where it's aiming at their king and blocking the rook's path down. I would like to get this rook out of the corner here pretty quickly. I'm not sure exactly where it wants to go. Okay, they're attacking the bishop. I really don't know what I can do about that other than move it again, and I don't want to. But I was about to do this, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. It's on an open file. The rooks are staring at each other. Both rooks are being, protected by their friends. The bishop is protected by the pawn and the rook. I don't think I'm in danger of being checked. I assume they're going to move this rook over or take the bishop. They're not going to take the bishop. Okay. They're going to put an extra attacker on it. All right. Well, I'm going to move it then, because otherwise they're going to get my bishop and a rook and a pawn for a rook and a knight. And I can't add a second defender to it, so I'm just going to move it, and then we'll trade rooks, I guess. Or they might have something else up their sleeve. That's possible too. Something that I didn't see. That's the only thing that I saw here is once I got my bishop out of that they will trade rooks. That's what most of my opponents do. They did. Now I assume they're going to try to trade off one of those knights for one of my bishops. But I like having the bishop pair here since the board is relatively open. One problem, I cannot protect all of these pawns. This one is currently protected, but these two are going to have to jump forward to be protected. Okay, they're lining up here, which isn't bad. I don't think I need to worry about those pawns just yet because they're hyper-focused on this. I assume they want to move this knight someplace. For example here, which is a check. This pawn will be pinned. So I wouldn't be able to take, so I would just have to move out of check. Then I don't know what they would do at that point. I could move first, but again, I think I would just, oh no. Once they did that, when they checked and I moved over, then they'll win this pawn because the other knight will be protecting it. Okay, so I don't want them to do that, but I can't push this pawn up to keep them from doing that because the other knight could take that pawn. So I'm just going to get out of the check first. The coming check, I assumed that's what they had planned. I don't know that that's what they had planned, but it very well could have been. Now I can push this pawn, and I might have to trade one or more of the bishops for one of those knights, one or both of them. I don't know. I think at my level, a lot of people are just as good with knights as they are with bishops. At least I think I'm just as good with one as I am with the other, depending on the board. But I've been told, and you probably have too, that on an open board, bishops are better. And of course in an end game, because they can go further. Okay, well that's keeping my bishop from coming in here. Not that I wanted it to put it there. I was thinking of this though. What does that do? That encourages that knight to move. Where would it go? Back here. Oh no, then I would win the other knight. Wait, can I win that knight now? Where can that knight go? I can't go here or here. And if it goes there, I win the other knight. Oh, I hope that's good. Let's try it. Oh, they can just protect it with the pawn. But then I'll win that pawn because that pawn won't be defending this anymore. Well, let's see if that's good. It might not be. For example, I don't know, Stockfish might be saying to take this right now, and when I take back, then they have a discovery with that knight. I don't know. They did protect it with that pawn, and that did give up this one. So I'm going to take it because I had already predetermined that. That's why I didn't spend a lot of time on that move. I had already determined that's what I was going to do. If they moved this pawn forward, I didn't see anything else that would be better, and being a pawn up in an endgame might come in handy. This pawn right here is now technically a passed pawn. There's no pawns in front of it and no pawns on either adjacent file. Okay, they've gotten that knight out of the way of this. If I take this, then I won't have a passed pawn anymore. When I go here and they take back, then I won't have a passed pawn anymore. They are aiming here now, but you know what? I'm going to get rid of that annoying rook by going here, and then I'm going to take their rook because they have to take me. Yeah. Now I don't know what they'll do. They have to protect this knight, I assume, or should I trade off for it since I have a passed pawn? If they move the king to protect it, I'll take. And then once they take back, I'll take this one, and my king will come get this pawn. That's my plan, but I don't know what they'll do. They might immediately attack my bishop, and I think for the first... Oh, they ran away. Okay, that's an option. They're coming after these pawns, aren't they? Which one can they get first? The middle one? Can't come here or here. And if they go there, I just move the middle pawn, but then they can go here and aim at the other one. You know what? Let's make them take that pawn. Now, I don't have a passed pawn, but I can come get this guy pretty quickly, I think. And they can't get at my bishop very quickly. Oh, they can't go there because of where my bishop is right now. So let's go get this pawn. They can protect it by doing that. What they cannot do is keep me from coming here, and then I'm going to move this pawn. They're coming after my bishop, so that's fine. I'm going to move it right here and see if they try to threaten my bishop. I can come right back here and protect both of those pawns at once. Oh, they went there aiming at this pawn. Nice. Okay. They have to run one more time. I don't know where they'll go. Maybe here? Surely not. Maybe back there? But they won't go here or here, I'm positive, because I'll take. Okay, they went back there where they're not threatening anything, and they can't check me here, so I'm taking that pawn, and now I have two passed pawns. And I'm going to run this one. They're going to come for my bishop, which is okay. I'm going to put it right here, threaten their knight, see where it goes. They gave me the knight. Okay. Wow. Okay, they did resign. That's what that ding was, and it says black resigned in this tiny little area here. Let's click on the analysis board. I'm pretty sure I made mistakes in this game, and I'm not sure exactly what the mistake was that my opponent made that lost it. Obviously, a lot of people would say, oh, I hung my knight, and that's what my opponent thought. They thought we were relatively even until they hung this knight. I was pretty sure I was winning before this because of these two passed pawns. They can't stop both of them. Even if that knight was defended, I would have traded there because they can't stop these two passed pawns. But let's check the analysis board and see how bad it was. Oh, apparently my opponent had already run the analysis. I did not have to wait for it. It says I had 2 blunders and a mistake. My opponent had 3 blunders and a mistake. And it looks like mine were probably right here in a row. No, that was an inaccuracy. The only time I gave my opponent an advantage was an inaccuracy. Okay, a mistake and an inaccuracy, so my blunders must have been over here. Yep, my blunders were just not taking advantage of my lead. That's interesting. That's what, yeah, definitely some blunders are worse than others. So I was ahead, according to the graph, a lot earlier than I thought. Let's go back to the beginning. Oh, and I'm going to recrop this because the board moves over for some reason. I'm just going to click through here. It looks like according to the game reviews analysis, I was fine. They shouldn't have taken that pawn. I'm pretty sure that what white's supposed to play here is this. Once they take that pawn, I'm doing okay. And I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to play e5 here. Yes, it's the only move. They have to go back. Yeah, definitely their only move. Okay, that's what I thought, because I've gotten this far before in plenty of games, and knight to f3 is my best move here. Yeah, see, I was wrong several times. I immediately played this, but then I started having opponents that would find the check. So d4 is definitely not it. It's knight to f3. d6 is their best move here, and d4 is my best move to protect. Okay. And I have made it this far before as well. They are supposed to take, and I'm not supposed to take back, really. Supposed to check. But wouldn't they're just going to play this pawn? It says they would play the pawn, and then I would bring the bishop back to c4. And then they would take this pawn, and I would let them have it, and I would castle? Wait, what? Sorry, I've got to play that out. Okay, because I know here they can block with the pawn. They don't. There's multiple ways to block that check. The knight can go to either square to block. I mean, they could block with the queen, but that's not a good idea. They could even move out of check, but that would be a blunder. Okay, but I assume they would block with the pawn. And then it says, I'll come back here and I'm still ahead. They're going to take on d4. Okay, the line earlier said I would castle, but here it says now I'm going to take on f4 and let them have my knight. But they wouldn't take it. That's not among their top 5 moves. I know one reason you wouldn't want to is because I would take their queen and they would trade, but then they would be up a piece, right? They're already up 2 pawns because in this line, according to the analysis here, I just let them have it. My best says their best move here is knight to f6, queen to e7 check is almost as good. Bishop to e7 is almost as good. So I would just take that. Well, why wouldn't they do this? Because I would take here, and then win their queen for free. Oh, that's why they wouldn't take. But would my opponent have known that? I didn't. Okay, but backing up to here. That's why my best move is checking. Because the computer knows that eventually they won't take this knight because then I could take here, they would have to take back and I would get their queen for free. Or they would have to move up to continue protecting their queen, and then I don't know what I would have done after that. I'm not going to play that. Queen to e2 was my next best move. Taking here was my 3rd best move and took us to even, and that was inaccurate. Okay, it was their best move to take me, so I didn't take them. It says it's just as good to take with the king. Well, I didn't want to move my king because I thought I might want to castle. I think it turned out that I did not castle. That's not one of their better moves, and here taking back was fine for me. Oh yeah, they're supposed to develop pieces now, but they took here first, and then they did develop, preparing to castle. Bishop to h3 was among my top 5, but it wasn't my absolute best move. Knight to f3 was my best move. Sorry, knight to f2. And it says they wouldn't have castled then. I'm pretty sure if I had played that, they would have castled queenside, so their rook would be sitting right here, and then I couldn't castle. But it says they wouldn't. It says they would castle queenside if I played knight to c3 or knight to e3. But I played here so they couldn't castle. That was one of their okay moves, so we're very close to even. One of my best moves. Not one of their best moves. Oh, it says taking is best, but it hesitated for a while. But here I noticed that I have a lot of options. At the time, I thought my options were taking, which let them out, or going past. But those aren't my only 2 options. I could just leave it there because that pawn is defended. And it says I could just play c3 so that they're not attacking anything here. Because I thought they were, when I moved forward, I thought they were just going to take a free pawn. But it says I could just play c3 now. What? And if I did, Stockfish would tell them to play g5. And I would take their knight and they would take my bishop. That would have been a very different game than what we got. Okay, so it was a mistake for me to push forward. That gave away what little advantage that I had. f5 was their best move. Oh, it was one of my 2 best moves to take this pawn. Well, I didn't know. Okay, so here's the inaccuracy that gave my opponent the advantage. That I went to protect this pawn. That's more than an inaccuracy. It went from 0s to -1. I think that should have been counted as a mistake. That gave up this pawn and put them a pawn ahead. Bishop to g3 was one of my better moves, but now my opponent is just up -1, but they should have checked me. And then I would have moved over, and they would have gotten this knight out, and I think they would have castled after that. That would have been the idea. Yeah, the computer's definitely saying they need to castle over here, but they castled over there, which was a blunder, and I was never behind again. Okay. Was taking that pawn my best move? It was. Okay. Checking me was one of their best moves. Oh, and I blundered here again, but I didn't go all the way behind. My best move would have my only move, according to Stockfish, was just to move over. Why didn't I do that? Because I thought they would check me again. But it says they wouldn't. It says they would get their other knight out. I guess if they had checked me again, then I could have blocked with the knight here? No. No, I have 2 pieces guarding that square. Yeah. Okay, I guess I get that. But that's a blunder. Gave away almost all my advantage. We went almost back to even, but they took, and they shouldn't have. Okay, my only move, their best move, my best move. Okay, good, because I was getting out of the pin. And they should have attacked my bishop here, and it says I would have brought it all the way back. Maybe I would. I don't know. But that was a blunder because rook h to e1 or rook c to e1. I had to put one of the rooks there now, but I didn't. I don't even remember why I moved the bishop there, but I didn't think of moving the rook over till the next turn, and now it is one of my better moves still. That was an inaccuracy. We're still fairly close. We're between +1 and -1. So what was the move? Okay, it was their next blunder, which is on their next turn. Bishop to d3 was one of my 2 best moves. And here, they could have stayed even by playing knight to f5, knight to h5, or a6 to give their king an out. Those are their only 2 moves that keep us under +1. But they took my rook. I thought they were going to. I said most of my opponents do. Okay, so now I'm up +2 or more for the rest of the game. Okay, that was one of their best moves. One of my best moves. It says inaccurate, but it was listed as one of their best moves. My absolute best move. Their best move. It was one of my best moves to take that pawn. Inaccuracy takes us up to it was +3. And that's +5, almost +6. Okay, that's more than an inaccuracy. That's at least a mistake. And it should have played f4. Wait, what? Wouldn't they have taken it? It says they would not have taken. Oh, they couldn't have taken it because of mate. Oh, wow. Okay, I get that. I get why f4 would be my best move. It attacks this knight. They would move it to... It says they would leave it there. Wait, why would they leave it there? Sorry. Okay, I've got to know. I know now why they wouldn't take with the rook, because then I would have mate on their back rank. But why would they leave this knight here? Their best move is knight to f6. But their second best move is knight to h7. I think that's what I would have played. Oh, no, because then I could just take it. What? Knight to h7 is their second best move. Why not here? Oh, because they can't take back because of the back rank again. Okay. Their rook had to stay on the back rank. It couldn't guard that knight. I get it. Okay. I get why f6 would have been better there. But, so backing up, yeah, f6. But rook to e8 was my second best move, so it doesn't matter that it's an inaccurate. They basically have to, yeah, it's their only legal move to take, and I pick it up. And now I'm at +4. I did not realize that. One of their top 5 moves, which were all about even. Me taking the other knight was not one of my best moves. Okay, this is what I saw. Their last king move was away, and I think it was to get out of the pin that I had, but that means that their king is really far from this pawn. My king is really close to where that pawn's about to be. That's what I thought. I can take this. They can't possibly defend that pawn, or I was pretty sure. Plus, I'd be willing to trade this one off or that one off for it to have a passed pawn that their king couldn't get to. But it was not listed as one of my best moves, but it was also not a mistake. I'm still doing okay. And of course, bringing my king was one of my best moves. Okay, so I was well ahead at this point. I just wasn't sure. I was starting to feel a little bit more confident once I got rid of their rook. Okay, my best move, their best move, my best move, one of their better moves, my best move. Oh, and now their best move is to take this pawn. Oh my. I would not have guessed that. That was a little worse because it allows me to take this pawn, one of their better moves, my best move. They simply can't catch that pawn. I think that's it. They just can't catch that pawn. Their best move, my best move, aiming at the knight. And they had to move it to g3 or g1, and they didn't. Okay, so that's interesting. The place where I went ahead it was trading the rooks. That's what lost them the game that early. That is always really fascinating to me, to find the point at which Stockfish says you lost the game, and it was here. They had several moves that kept it at +0.6, +0.9, or 1.1, 1.2, and as we all know, at my level, people can fight back from 1.2 this early in the game. You know, now if you're up 1.2 and you're down to passed pawns, you have to pretty much blunder to lose. But at this point, it can go either way because of tactics. You run out of tactics when it's just a king and a pawn versus a king and 2 pawns, that kind of thing. But here, there's all kinds of tactics with knights versus bishops and stuff. So yeah, I had no idea that this is where I went ahead because they still had that other rook. But yeah, okay. Well, this is the first game I've played on camera in 2024, and I'm happy that I won it. I'm happy that you decided to spend your time here. I appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.